Well, good evening, and thanks for joining us here on News 20 on GT. I'm Randy Gardner. We've got a great show for you tonight. Joining me to my right, we have Martin Matthews of the Matthews-Dickey's Boys and Girls Club. Glad you could join us. It's been a while since you've been on.
Yes, it has, and it's a pleasure for me to be here today. And I look at you, and you look home like you did 4 or 5 years ago when I was here.
Well, thank you. We had such a great response to the 6-month shows that we did before. The community really enjoyed seeing all the successes that you've been able to achieve through the Matthews-Dickey's Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, it is, and unfortunately, when you put 50-some years in this business, you always look up new things, and now we got new going. It's better to educate than incarcerate. Those dreams always come to me late at night, and it's always worried me because there's so many young people falling through the cracks. And I feel if this country would get together on what Thomas Jefferson did in 1776, we the people, we will correct the situation among our young people, and I hope that will happen.
We're going to talk much more about that. We have a full half hour to talk about that here on the show. But joining me to your right, we have Pastor Robert Griffin. Glad you could join us. Also, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Randy.
We're here to talk about a big event that we know here in the North County community, the Harvest Festival. We've been involved with it for many years. But for the people who don't know, that live outside the community, tell us a little bit about what's going on this day.
Well, Harvestfest, we really began doing that in 2006 when there was a real problem with in New Orleans, the Hurricane Katrina relief program. And there were quite a few people from New Orleans there that come up here to St. Louis. And so we decided that we would do what we could to try to help benefit them. And that's how our Harvest Fest got kicked off. And ever since then, we've been able to locate different organizations that we can really support and partner with to try to help them as well. And some of them are like the Samaritan Purse. We have also partnered with the Backstoppers, with the American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, also with Build a Body Kid Fitness that's dealing with childhood obesity, as well as the USO dealing with the deployed troop families that remain here. So been very busy.
And this year?
And this year, we are going to partner with none other than Matthews-Dickey's Boys and Girls Club, and we look forward to doing it.
We'll talk much more about the event in just a bit. But when you hear organizations like Pastor Griffin's church who step up and are helping your organization, what's that make you feel like?
Well, it carried me back in history. I go back in history, and I found Matthews-Dickey based on the Bible and the Constitution. So I had to go back in there and look at when he said he wanted to come up and look at it. So I had to almost go back and look at the many religious people who decided, mostly, especially Jesus Christ, who was sacrificed on the cross for the betterment of people. So I look at this church as wanting to do something good because we're in a turmoil in this country and we don't know it. If we don't prepare our young people, there's no future for this country.
As you've been involved with this for so many years and you talked about how things have changed, did you foresee when you started that it would be this successful and that you would have changed this many lives through this entire span?
No, I didn't. I had no idea that this community was in dire need for young African Americans. So I got called in 1958 to a man's house at 4712 Lavender. I'll never forget that. 30 boys in the room, excited about wanting to do something with their life. In 1954, the Brown versus Board of Education had passed, so they see what the other side were doing. They wanted to do some of that, but not prepared. So a man asked me to take those 30 boys, and I did. I asked them. They asked me would I take them. And when you young and you're married and job and everything going, you didn't know what to say. So my heart said, take them, and my mind said, you can drop them after a year. That's basically what I take them on. So I've not been able to drop. I've been here 53 years, suffering over 55, suffering from that. Because I see the change in those 30 boys. 99% of them went on to do outstanding work, not only in the city of St. Louis, but throughout the country. And like I said, I wouldn't give it up for anything, what was able to accomplish with the first 30 boys.
Overall, can you put into perspective how many children that you help maybe a year or since the beginning?
Well, we looked at one damn trade calculation of it, and we thought we touch about 35, 40,000 people during the year, and over 1 million that we have touched. Because everywhere I go, I run into people who's saying that, thanking me, So, it just can't measure. It's hard to measure that because we used to have 2,000 kids to come to Matthew Dickey every year in the summer program. Then we had thousands out on the ball field, thousands everywhere. And so it's just hard to that because everybody wants to be successful. There's two young men, they wrote an article on them the other day. They were talking about how they wanted to be successful. And they carried me back to my first 30 boys in that room that I had. They came to Matthew Dickey, two of them, on a year and about a year and a half apart. Wanted to do something, wanted to go to college, had no way to go. So we found a way to get them into college. So they got a ride for Webster University. They just smiling. One young man did a speech at our banquet. He got a standing ovation, 16-year-old boy, talking about the success that people look for, talk about the problem. And they're going to do an article on him in the Post-Dispatch, run a speech in the Post-Dispatch. So that makes me feel good.
When you hear stories like this is what you do also. You do it locally here in the community, you touch so many lives, but they're touched in the same way that they're touched through the Matthew Dickey's Boys Club.
Absolutely. As he was talking about how sometimes, you do all this work and someone will come up and thank him for influencing and impacting their lives. I happen to be one of them. I'm also one of those young people that when I was younger played the different ball clubs, and this is a way that we can possibly come back as a community, and rather than just coming to him and say thank you, but we can do a little more than say thank you by getting involved and coming out to this wonderful weekend event and giving back to this club who have given so much to everybody else.
What's it make you feel like to hear someone come up to you and say maybe what you said on a weekend or at an event or just maybe casually hanging out has really influenced them to change their life for the better?
That makes me feel like all of the work, all of the labor, it's all worthwhile. Sometimes just someone coming and just letting you know that their lives have been changed by something that you've done, something you said, that makes it all worthwhile, Randy. You put a lot of time and effort into something, and one of the things that you really appreciate is seeing the fruit of your labor. And when someone come and thank you or just come and just let you know that you did impact their life some way, for something positive, that's part of the fruit of what you have been, waiting for.
We talked before we went on the air, some of the greatest accomplishments I feel for myself is when somebody comes up and says, hey, we enjoyed the show, we learned something from that. Makes me feel great. You hear it all the time, Pastor Griffin. You hear it thousands and thousands of times. Do you ever get sick of hearing things like that?
No, it makes me feel good because I feel that I didn't waste 55 years, When you give up a lot for this, I'm not bragging, but I give up a whole lot, left corporate America in order to do this, And so I just look now, was it worthwhile? And I can see the satisfaction when somebody come up and thank you for in their life, they're being successful, and they say, we're not being able to do that without your support. Either some type of good advice or either need monetary gain. Whatever they needed, we would be sure that they didn't fail.
How have you seen things change through the years, not only with societal changes and just the trends, and how have you adapted? I know when we had you on before, you talked a lot about technology and how it's being taught now. Are you seeing many different things over the past 10, 20 years?
Yeah, I tell young people today, you have to have talent, determination, and you must get an education, because first thing you're going to do, whether you can do the job or not, they want to see your resume, and they want to see on that what school. And I think that's very important, that you get the message to young people. Without education, you cannot advance in this country because you're competing with the world. And so that's where education is the most important thing now, to be able to succeed in America.
What would you, I'll start with you, Pastor Griffin. What would you say to the youngsters out there about, we live in a society where they see on the television this, the athletes with the money and the cars, and it's almost like just instantaneous fame. But there's a lot of hard work that goes into this. What do you say about putting in that time, putting in that effort to get to where you want to be in life?
Well, first of all, I would say that money should not be your pursuit. Neither should fame be your pursuit. you want to make sure that you have a good basic moral character. Of course, that's where the church come in, but also, parenting, because that's where it all begins, Randy. It begins in the home. When you have a solid foundation in the home, then everything else tend to work in your life, even if you don't get the money and if you don't get the fame. However, for those who do have that ambition to really make the most of their lives, I think that they need to see that what is shown up front is the fame, the money, all the glory, but behind the scenes there's another story. So when they see the glory, they need to find out what's the story behind the glory.
And nothing in this world comes easy, right?
That's
It's hard work and dedication.
That's exactly right.
Talk to us a little bit about the building and how, if somebody sees this, and it's a household name, Matthews Dickey's Boy, but if they don't understand how it all works, how can they become involved?
Well, they picked up the phone, called Barbara Washington, she's the PR person, and let her know she loved the market thing. So she's the key to Matthew Dickey right now, Barbara Washington, and she's got a sister there that be able to probably put 12 or 14 hours a day, 6-7 days a week at Matthew Dickey, because she had bought into the dream that we had 50-some years ago. Ms. Washington came in there because she was at General American Life Insurance Company, was the spokesman for General American Life Insurance Company, and smoking for the United Way. That's why I spotted her. And I said, if she can be out there doing this, we need somebody like it, Matthew Dickey. And I asked her, she turned me down first, and did you know? I said, you want to work, man? I said, nope. A week later, she goes, I think I'll take the job. And so she's been doing a tremendous job ever since. Her dedication, and she bought into the concept of Matthew Dickey. What can we do to help others, not what you can do for yourself? And that's what we're about.
How important is it for the volunteers to help out the organization? What would you say to them?
Well, this country would not survive without volunteerism, and that's how Matthew Dickey got to survive, because we had over 1,000 people volunteer when we first started, and we could never get that because resources wasn't available. And we had people who were willing to give up their job, to come in and volunteer. I had one man called Mr. Robert Trice. He worked in Monsanto. He'd come home, and what thing he did, he got him a drink of water and a sandwich, and put the cap on and headed out to the field. All these kids, we had 75 baseball teams, and he would go out there to check all that. That's what he did 6 days after he worked. So that volunteerism mean everything. You cannot do it. I was out to the Reverend, he gave a little picnic, and see all those volunteers out there, and they were working hard. I told him, I said, being in this business over 55 years, that I saw everybody, that I didn't see no cliques, didn't see anything. Everybody wanted to do a good job, and I commend him for that, as being a pastor of a church where everybody wanted to do something good.
As you've gone through the years, do you find yourself becoming attached to the kids who come through the program?
Yes, every kid come through. I want to talk to him because I know, because he's going to be the replacement of all of us. So minute I get there, if he's 2 years old, so I have to go back to it when I was 2 to talk to him. Everybody, and that's what I do. The kids is what I like to talk to, because kids are going to tell what's in their heart. Parents or whatever's going to tell what they think they should tell you, think what you want to know, but kids are going to tell you what they in their heart, and that's what I love to talk to kids.
What about your connection with the congregation, with the community? Talk about the importance of that.
Well, just as Mr. Matthews, his passion is to help young people, and I also have a passion to help people, including young people, to get a group of people together and form them into a community within the church, and to get them involved in not just what's going on in the church, but also in the community, Randy, to be more proactive and making a difference, making an impact, more than just sitting inside the four walls. So that's what we're looking to do. We want to make an impact, and we really want to be a vital part of our community.
Let's go ahead, right now we'll give out all the information for the Harvestfest. We'll put it up on the screen, and then we'll allow people to get a pen, and they can get it again later in the show. So let's talk about it.
Okay, starting Friday night, 7 o'clock on September the 20th. We're going to have a gospel comedy. We're going to have a young man who's going to come, very humorous young man. It's going to be a wholesome comedy event. And then we're going to have a gospel just concert. Everybody's going to come and just have a real good time. We have different people coming from different backgrounds who's going to come. And I really believe that that night is going to kick everything off. And then it's that Saturday morning, we're going to have a run walk at 7 o'clock a.m. And we have our own facility that we're going to do that run and walk on. It's going to be a small donation for anybody who wants to participate. And of course, then we're going to have our kickoff at 10 o'clock a.m. where we're going to have fun, food, games, all different kind of activities, just to make everything an event where people can just bring their families, bring their children, bring their neighbors. It's going to be a real time of coming together, and we want to do it for a worthwhile cause, and that is Matthew Dickey's Boys and Girls Club.
And the location?
It's located at 13775 Old Jamestown Road, right here in this wonderful city of Blackjack, Missouri. And if anyone wants to check us out on the web, it's www.christianembassichurch.com. And if they want to call us, they can reach us at area code 314-741-4463.
We hear often, all too often in this world, things thrown around like one person can make a difference. And you are the perfect example that one person came into the community and has made a difference for over 50 years. When somebody like me says that to you, or you hear that at an awards banquet, how do you absorb that as an individual when you really take a step back and look at the massive scale of not only children, but changing all of St. Louis?
Well, it made me think about the Constitution. And, I thought about Thomas Jefferson, who went in there in 1776, put 20 people in there, and they was able to farm to make the difference. Thought about Jesus Christ, died on the cross to make a difference. So I think about that. And if you make a difference, then you have done your job, you know. And that's what I always believe in. Those two people, the Bible and the Constitution. And I try to live by that, because if you make a difference, people are going to always remember that. A kid, if you, with him 2 years old, if you helped him and he grew up to be 60, he's going to come up and say, you remember you done such a thing. So I had to coin a phrase now with the kids. I said, you know, the difference between you and I, you grew up, I didn't, because I can't remember all these kids who come by to tell me. But life is that way. So, and once I heard the man said, what you do for yourself will die with you, and what you do for others will live forever. And that's what I try to do.
You talked earlier about the slogan, it's better to educate than to incarcerate. Talk more about this and your approach to these efforts.
Well, you know, I thought about that because I had a young man on my first team. I had 30 boys, and I was only able to do 30. And he had a brother. He had a brother there. He couldn't get on the team. So this young man, I was able to mentor him. He went on to become one of the top FBI agents was in the country, and was a person who the head of the FBI gave him awards and everything. But his brother wasn't able to get into a program like Matthew Dickey. So his brother wound up being a dope dealer, and he wound up being one of the top FBI agents there. And he came back home to really find out who killed his brother, you know. And that's what I said, a support system in the lives of kids will make a difference. Two brothers, and one got a support system, the other one didn't. And that's what we try to do here at Matthew. I try to put a support system in their lives where they won't slip through the cracks. And a lot of times you're going to find kids, they don't have this at home. So what we do at Matthew Dickey, we try to replace that at the home, the community, and we work with the schools. A lot of times kids have trouble with certain things, have trouble reading, have trouble with math, or whatever they try. We try to work on that, and kids change.
How does their mindset change maybe from when they start with you to the end of it? Is there any friction at the beginning, not maybe trusting or understanding what they're walking into? And then once they understand that, look, they're here to help me, they become more adapted to it, and then they become successful?
That's true, because a lot of times kids haven't been helped, and they kind of a little reluctant because maybe they say, well, what is he just wasting his time? But after if you be consistent and they see you consistent, then they'll buy into it and they'll come and ask you. And I think about a little girl came in there, she wanted to go to the prom, and she was in there crying, I don't have nobody to take me to the prom. So a young man who walked by the door, and I've been mentoring him, I said, he'll take you. And that's where come in and talk to him, and he said, yeah, I'll take her. But then here, what I have to do now, I got to find all the things for him. I got to get his tux, got to get the limo, got to get everything prepared. So, and they did, and you won't believe both of them was thrilled because she got a chance to go to the prom. He got a chance to have a date to go to prom, his first date and everything, and it worked beautiful.
It's the simple things like that. We talked about it before we went on the air that can really make a difference in somebody's life, not only for a year or two, but maybe for the rest of their life. That one chance encounter to go to the prom. We talked about just the simple things of saying hi to somebody, smiling when you're at the cash register. Maybe that person's having a bad day, and you brighten up their day. Those are the simple things in life that can really make a difference. But when you look at it on this scale, and what you do, it basically kind of blossoms.
Yeah. I believe that what Mr. Matthew and Matthew Dickey Boys and Girl Club is doing, they are making an impact that's going to go on from generation to generations. And that's what we try to do also. We want to impact those who we have contact with, but we want it to continue on, where it continues on from one generation to the next generation. And when people can realize that you don't have to be big, you don't have to be great, you don't have to be in front of a camera, but you can make a difference. Like you said, just speaking to someone, being courteous, not speaking to those who may be able to do something for you, but even the people who cannot do anything for you, just to show that kind of respect and that kind of concern, and of course that kind of love.
As we get through the summer months here and start to get back into school mode for everybody, what are some of the programs that are coming up this year at Matthews Dickey's that people can be involved in?
Well, I think the main thing is our tutorial program, where we tutor kids in what they were having trouble in school, and that's been the main thing here. Because see a kid who comes in, don't know how to read, he comes in, don't know how about math, algebra, all that, and you work with them a while, all at once they blossom, and that's the greatest thing for me, to see the change in their life, going from a F sometimes to B's and C's, and some of them go all the way to the A's, and that's what makes you feel good.
So as far as the educational aspects, what other aspects do you try to teach the kids about as they go through the program?
Well, the main thing is we coined the phrase of, in my life, I had to live about the 3 R's: respect, restraint, and responsibility. That's the key in life. If you be able to do that, and that's what we find out, the kids a lot of times, they don't know how to use that, and they don't get it at home, so you have to really, restraint is a big key in their life, regardless of the circumstance. A lot of times you have to use restraint, and this is what we try to practice. And that's what I've done all my life, practice over the 3 R's. I had to redo it, read and write, replicate. What I did is respect, restraint, and responsibility, because you have to do that.
You talked earlier on something that I will remember for a long time, is the difference between the two brothers. One that had an opportunity and a support system, and the one that didn't.
Right.
And you saw exactly what happened.
That's right.
Kind of what your program's built on.
Exactly correct. This is true, and you see that. And that's what we do every day. We had 2 boys came in. One was 15, the other 16. We started working with them. They didn't have no way to go to college. They done made on the SAT test. One made 26, one made 27, but they had no money to go. So we worked with them, and now both of them going to Webster University. In about a week, they'll be enrolled at the 2 happiest kids in their life, to be able to do that. And this is what we're all about. That's just, we do it with thousands of kids, but these kids were one that they wouldn't even been able to even do anything. And the parents is happy, everybody's happy. One of the kids become a principal speaker at our banquet, got a standing ovation, and because he had that much on the ball. And that's what we do here at Matthew Dickey. And I'm sure here that this community is the greatest community in the world. We just got to step up to it.
And that support system goes no matter where you live, what you do, what state you live in. where it's the backbone of a family, of a child, is that support system, knowing that somebody believes in them.
That's absolutely right, Randy. I was listening to you talk to Mr. Matthews about one individual make a difference, and I thought about that. I also thought about how we may be the ones who may have the vision for something, but we definitely have to have support, just like our young people as they come up. You never know what's in them. Sometimes they just need somebody to pull it out of them, just to encourage them, just to let them know that they can do or become something. And with the organizations as far as Matthew Dickey's Boys and Girls Club, and of course with what we're doing in our church, we believe that we can let them know that they can make a difference, but they do need a support group.
Sounds good. If you have a pen and a pencil, we're going to give you all the information in just a second. But as we wrap things up, Mr. Matthews, if you had one thing to say to all of St. Louis right now about what you've accomplished over the last 50 plus years, what you see for the future, and what you want people to know about Matthews Dickey, what would you want them to know?
Well, I would ask them to look at the Constitution, what Thomas Jefferson written, and we living by today, maybe amend it, then go back to the Bible and see what Jesus Christ was able to do. He was willing to go on the cross and died so that everybody have an opportunity to do what he wanted to do in life. He could have an opportunity, he want to be saved or he want to fall through the crack. And I think this is what we're all about, giving people opportunity to be able to live a good life and be able to enjoy the freedom that we in this country have. But you have that, but you don't have a vehicle where you can reach that, then you will perish.
And as we wrap up tonight, Pastor Griffin, let's talk about the event one more time, all the details.
Okay. The event, again, is going to take place September the 20th. It's going to start at Friday evening, 7 o'clock p.m. We're going to have a gospel comedy program. And then 7 o'clock that morning on September the 21st, we're going to have at 7 o'clock a.m., we're going to have a run walk. And then the other event's going to kick off at 10 o'clock a.m.
And that's not going to be a backwards walk, right?
That's exactly right. That's a little inside joke.
That's right. For the people a couple years ago, it was a backwards walk, and some people paid for a long time for the backwards walk. Mr. Matthews, it's an honor to have you here at the desk. We appreciate what you do for the community. Also, Pastor Griffin, honor to have you here too. We appreciate what you're doing for the community. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you tomorrow night right here on News 20 on GTN. Have a good evening.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Be out there. Be out there.
Be out there. Be out there.
Time was, kids did what came naturally. Spending free time running barefoot through the grass, wading knee-deep in streams, climbing to the tallest branch. But today, American kids are more likely found texting, watching TV, or gazing at a computer screen. They spend more than 7 hours in front of electronic media. Something essential has been lost. Childhood's connection to the natural world. That's why National Wildlife Federation created the Be Out There movement. Kids move indoors causes a host of problems, from obesity to ADHD. But outdoor play can go a long way to improving kids' health, body, mind, and spirit. It helps them stay fit, enhances creativity and attention spans, and could even make them better students. Do your part. Be a part of Be Out There. There's a reason why they call it the great outdoors. Learn more at beoutthere.org.
Be out there!
Our day starts very early. We never know exactly when we'll have a full house, but whatever comes up, travel arrangements, birthdays, homecomings, emails back home, we'll do our very best to see they get what they need. It's the very least we can do, considering what they do for us. If you want to make a difference in the life of someone serving our country, if you really want to make a difference, the USO is how it's done.
Find out more at USO.org. The USO,
until everyone comes home.
When Americans volunteer to serve their country promises to take care of them when they come home. For a paralyzed veteran, day-to-day living is a major challenge. Paralyzed Veterans of America works to make sure our veterans get all the benefits they were promised from the country they proudly served. A spinal cord injury is an injury for life.
And at Paralyzed Veterans, we are their partners for life. Thank you for helping us help America's veterans.
Thank you.